Hey everyone. Oil prices surge past $100. Talks with Iran remain uncertain, and global markets are watching every move. Could this be the start of a bigger shift? The White House has confirmed that its plans for potential talks with Iran are still fluid, meaning nothing is final yet. At the same time, oil prices have climbed back above $100 per barrel, raising fresh concerns across the global economy. This situation is not just about diplomacy. It is about energy, money, and stability. And right now, all three are deeply connected. Let's break this down in simple terms. The United States has been considering renewed discussions with Iran. These talks are expected to focus mainly on Iran's nuclear program and the economic sanctions placed on the country. However, officials say plans are still changing. There is no fixed date, no confirmed agreement, and no clear direction yet. When governments use the word fluid, it usually means negotiations are sensitive and still evolving. Small changes behind the scenes can quickly affect what happens next. Now here is where oil comes into the picture. Iran is one of the world's important oil producers. If tensions increase or if talks fail, there is a risk that oil supply from the region could be affected. Even the possibility of disruption is enough to make global markets nervous. Traders react quickly to uncertainty. When they believe supply might drop, they start buying more oil in advance. This increased demand pushes prices higher. That is one of the key reasons why oil has now crossed the $100 mark again. At the same time, if talks between the US and Iran succeed, it could lead to easing of sanctions. That would allow Iran to export more oil. In theory, this could increase global supply and lower prices. So right now, the market is stuck between two possibilities. One where tensions rise and supply tightens, and another where diplomacy improves and supply increases. This uncertainty is exactly what is driving price volatility. To fully understand this situation, we need to look at the bigger picture. The relationship between the United States and Iran has been tense for decades. One of the main issues has been Iran's nuclear program. Western countries, including the US, have long been concerned that Iran could develop nuclear weapons. Iran, on the other hand, says its program is for peaceful purposes. In response to these concerns, the US and its allies have placed heavy economic sanctions on Iran. These sanctions have limited Iran's ability to sell oil on the global market, which has had a major impact on its economy. There have been attempts in the past to resolve this issue through agreements. Some progress was made, but disagreements and political changes caused setbacks. Now, the possibility of new talks has brought hope, but also uncertainty. At the same time, the global energy market is already under pressure. Conflicts, production cuts, and growing demand have all contributed to rising oil prices over recent months. So when news comes out that talks are uncertain, it adds another layer of risk. So what does this mean for everyday people? When oil prices rise, the effects are felt almost everywhere. First, fuel becomes more expensive. Petrol and diesel prices increase, making it more costly to drive or transport goods. Second, businesses face higher operating costs. Airlines, shipping companies, and manufacturers all rely heavily on fuel. When their costs go up, they often pass those costs on to consumers. This means higher prices for food, products, and services. Third, inflation can increase. Rising energy costs often push up the overall cost of living, making it harder for people to manage everyday expenses. Governments also feel the pressure. They may need to adjust policies, provide support to consumers, or deal with economic slowdowns. For investors and financial markets, uncertainty creates volatility. Stock markets may react to changes in oil prices and geopolitical developments. Some sectors benefit, like energy companies, while others struggle. In simple terms, what happens in high-level talks between countries can directly affect the price you pay at the petrol station. Conclusion. Right now, the situation remains unclear. The White House says plans for talks with Iran are still changing. Nothing is confirmed. And that uncertainty is enough to keep global markets on edge. Oil prices rising above $100 is not just a number. It is a signal of concern, risk, and instability. The next steps in diplomacy will be crucial. If talks move forward, we could see some relief in the market. But if tensions grow, prices could rise even further. For now, the world is watching closely, waiting to see what happens next.